So, first up, topic number one, we're talking about Omni-C, Omni-Channel Over DTC, direct to consumer. So, Frank, this was an article talking about how direct to consumer is no longer as viable for a startup. The things here is saying that it's no longer a competitive advantage. It used to be. They were chatting with one of the co-founders of the Dollar Shave Club, and he was basically saying that it's easier than ever now to launch a startup, but much harder to succeed. Companies are going to be thriving upon return to the office, and conscious capitalism is the future of U.S. business. Here's something he was quoted saying, but I think brands starting out today would be wise to think, how do they get on omni-channel distribution as fast as they can?
So omni-channel distribution, that's a big word. It's a big word to unpack that. And I think in this show, we actually have like 2 or 3 topics that take us right down that path. But I thought it was really interesting as he juxtaposed like it's tougher for startups. Another comment that he made that I thought was really fascinating was the fact that, you know, as you look at a startup and you look at launching and you look at getting that initial kind of mind share out there as a disruptor, that, you know, as that kind of subsides and there's more disruption, right? There's more disruption out there in terms of what you're competing at. He says he's competing against beef jerky, right? You know, there's that much level of disruption and confusion is that the cost to acquire a client is much higher. And so having this digital distribution or this omnichannel distribution where you're not looking at this in terms of purely like offline walk-in traffic. He used Warby Parker as a good example where they have like a walk-in traffic, but then they also have an online experience. It's blending these and then blending the commerce into that omnichannel as well. That's kind of a mind blower, and we're going to kind of unpack that later. You'll see how that's just playing everywhere.
Yeah, and you know, it was kind of fascinating to see, the Dollar Shave Club. You know, everyone knows the Dollar Shave Club now. I mean, they sold to Unilever in 2016 for about $1 billion, and this was a brand that essentially started on YouTube, right? It essentially started with those YouTube ads. That's everyone remembers the YouTube ads they got, where the comedic and offbeat, you know, just completely blindsided you with comedy and sucked you into a Dollar Shave Club, right?
That's right. And I think a great example of their organization, and this just shows you, is like it's the move from brick and mortar to click and mortar, how essentially he took friction out of that process. We talk about CX all the time as part of our core go-to-market, and he did that. He took what was essentially a commodity, and he provided a value add. That's been done. Arm & Hammer did that with pencils, selling number 2 pencils to Russia, all right? Way back when, and made a mint.
Yeah, and last thing on that, like DTC, as much as people got their start doing that, I agree. I mean, it is highly competitive. Anyone these days can launch their own Shopify store and go DTC and run Facebook ads and YouTube ads till their heart's content.
Yep, absolutely.
Now, that's not to say you're going to wake up one day and say, we've arrived, we've adapted. It's a constant struggle and a constant battle to continuously adapt.
We've adapted. We're there.
Yeah, that doesn't exist.
Well, there's a great saying that kind of builds on what you just mentioned, which is like, how do you open up a small business? You open up a big one.